Sweeping a team is not easy. Sweeping the team on the road is even more difficult. And yet, there's a lot of frustration around this missed sweep. We'll give you the reasons why next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Yeah, missed opportunities is definitely the theme of this game for a Rangers team that had the first two hitters aboard in 4 of 5 innings, 4 of the first 6, and only capitalized once in this game. That's certainly the basis, the genesis of the frustration that we're feeling today with those missed opportunities. Hi there. Welcome into the DLLS Sports Studios. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan here with Jeff Wilson. We've got Tanner twisting and tweaking over there for us today, and we're drowning our sorrows a little bit because of that. We'll get to our favorite beer sponsor a little bit later, but the reality is, I don't know. I don't want to make too much out of one loss on the road, all that stuff, Jeff. But when you have that many offensive opportunities, I mean, it's not like they were completely devoid of offense today, as they have been sometimes this year. There was enough. There were opportunities. You get 2 on with nobody out 4 times. You need to get more people home.
No question. You know, and you kind of look at, all right, where were they in the order? Well, the first time they did it, they were kind of at the bottom of the order, and the guys down at the bottom did some good things with the bat. Jonah Heim got Marcus Semien to third with a fly ball. So that's kind of what this offense needs to do. And then, the second time, or at least the second one I remember, Corey Seager is up. Well, Corey Seager, you're not going to have him bunt. You want Corey Seager to let it eat, and unfortunately he popped out. There was another time, Wyatt Langford, similar situation. You're not going to ask him to bunt. He fouled out on the first pitch, and I think they showed a clip of the manager after that, and he took the Lord's name in vain. So it was definitely bothering everybody, including the manager. He knows what needs to be done, and these guys, they've been told. I don't know that a lot of them have a lot of practice at doing it. I don't know that at Florida, Wyatt Langford was asked very often to bounce it to second base, to get the runners over. And so these are things that still developing players have to learn. Corey Seager's immune from this because he's just the guy that's supposed to mash, and hasn't been lately. Had a decent series though, but yeah. So it's just that, and then on the flip side, Jack Leiter threw more than around 90 pitches in 4+ innings.
Too many.
Couldn't put away hitters. He had the opportunities to do it. Again, this is the same story with Jack. Gets into too many deep counts. They lay off his slider, and he has to go back to the fastball, and they hit it. So that happened in the 2-run inning when the Pirates drew even. I think that was the 4th. Then he came back for the 5th, and that's kind of when the wheels fell off. He issued a leadoff walk. Bruce Bochy had enough. He brought in Caleb Bosley, who last time faced 10 hitters, retired them all, and then
Did he get anybody out?
It took him 25 pitches to get 3 outs. Oh. And short in the bullpen, poor old Caleb had to take one for the team today. He threw 72 pitches.
Oh, God.
But they were down 3 relievers. They're converting Lats to the rotation, it would appear, and so they weren't going to use him. Plus, he just thrown however many pitches it was just the other day. So Martin and Milner were down. So they were kind of operating with a delicate situation here at the bullpen. And again, they don't have a day off tomorrow. They're going straight to Baltimore to play 3 games, and it's going to be hot, miserably hot. The Orioles have been scoring a lot of runs lately, so it's just one of those instances where poor old Caleb had to take one for the team, and it could result in him being sent to AAA. Just he's not going to be available for 3 or 4 days, and if you can get an arm on option, then I think that could be a possibility.
And the manager actually did say, I don't know that anybody on the team has officially said yet that they're doing as we've speculated, and that is, angling to get Jacob Latz into the rotation. But with Matt Hicks, I heard it on the radio driving in, Bruce Bochy said, yeah, I'm down a lefty today because we're getting him ready for the rotation.
Yeah, and Nathan Eovaldi is going to be back at some point this week. The only starter the Rangers have listed is for Monday's game, and it's Patrick Corbin. So TBA on Tuesday.
Would Latz be ready
TBA
for
on
Tuesday?
Wednesday. Well, he pitched Thursday, right?
Yeah.
So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, he'd be on normal rest.
Yeah.
DeGrom could go Wednesday, but then they have the Eovaldi wild card there if they wanted to drop him back in. But again, he's not going to be completely stretched out, so he probably won't be able to go that long. So, you're kind of maybe you save him till Friday after the off day, Thursday. Or as they've been apt to do, you drop them in Wednesday, and then DeGrom opens with an extra day of rest. So there are a lot of things that are up in the air right now. So that's just kind of where things stand.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You get this. This happens when pitchers begin to get injured. Pitchers begin to get fatigued. Unfortunately, the things that happened to the offense today were just all too familiar. Somebody's already been in the chat talking about, wow, at least we didn't get to 4 runs and ruin our greater than 4 run record. I think it's at 27-4 now as it stands. The reality is they also need to score those runs early. Was it Leon that said that? Yeah, that was Leon. Thank you. But they need to score those runs early. And if they do, Jeff, right, if they capitalize and get at least 2 more, they got 2 of the runners, those, guys who led off the inning on base. If they'd done it 1 more time, they would have had 4 before the Pirates had any, and maybe everything changes in the game.
I think it absolutely does. You probably don't go to Caleb Bosley with a lead. You probably will go to somebody not necessarily your long guy. Or maybe he finishes out the inning, and if the game, or maybe not the inning, they make a move where he doesn't finish the inning. I don't know. But, anytime you're ahead and it gets deeper in the games, everything kind of changes around. So again, this is we'll see what's going to happen. And right now there's so much in the air with the rotation and the bullpen. So, even if the team is listing TBA, and not offering any insight, I don't know how we're going to. So I would suspect though that it would go Corbin, Latz, DeGrom would be the way I would go. But
and then you wait till Friday because they're off Thursday. You wait till Friday to bring Eovaldi back, and especially since there's an off day. Plus, he's following DeGrom. You'd have to feel there'd been a lot of rest in the bullpen, right?
Yeah.
If you need, again, like you say, Eovaldi did 3 ups and 3 downs. Is that 4 innings?
Yeah, that gets him into 4. If they're probably 15 or 20 pitches an inning, so he could probably go 4 or 5. The adrenaline will kick in, and that's another factor that they consider. All this stuff. But yeah, and there'll be good innings, but still, he's not going to give you 7 innings here. The Rangers are definitely going to have some fresh arms available behind him.
Yeah, no doubt. And there are, Bosley was not good today, but you have days like that, right?
Sure.
You just have days, and like you say, the best thing he did, Jeff, was wear it. right? It's like,
Right.
yeah, you've got to take this one for the team, young man.
Yeah, and he left a lot of balls over the middle, and he got to 2 outs pretty quickly, and so I understand he just has to get one more batter, and he couldn't do it, and by that point it was 6-2, and then you're kind of in, all right, what are we gonna do here,
right?
And you try to win every game, but there are points in a game where it's like, we may not have a very good chance at this one. They've seen their offense enough to know, and so it ended up he just stayed in there and took it for the team, as we said. And again, it may end up in him going to Round Rock, but Curvello was down there. Hoyer. He's still on the 40-man. So there are some options down there to come up, but again, you're not calling up Mariano Rivera here,
right?
You're calling up a guy who's just going to be a warm body basically and pitch in bad situations.
Yeah, but it is. I get the frustration. I don't get that's it. Season's over. I mean, because yesterday after they had won 2 in a row and the offense had shown real signs of life and all that, you're like, okay, all right, heading in the right direction. And now the season's over. It's not. They'll go play, 3 games against a bad Baltimore team, and we'll talk lots more about the Orioles a little bit later in the show when we preview that series and what the Rangers are facing there. But this is not a team that invokes a lot of fear in anybody. They've got that on the horizon. Then Seattle at home, and then Baltimore again at home. So there's no reason to just feel like this has become because of this game, right? If it was bleak, if it's bleak, well, it was bleak after the 2 wins too.
Well, look, the Rangers have to obviously get better in a lot of areas. Offensively is still the number one area where they have to improve, but they've also have to improve how they play on the road. This is their 3rd straight road series win. They beat the Nationals, who aren't great, the Twins, who are hot and cold, and then the Pirates, who are a bad team. All right, so you didn't sweep them, but you won the series,
right?
And you get back into the thick of things by winning series,
right?
And so the Rangers have done that. Doing it on the road is important. If they can continue that at Camden Yards, where it's going to be 102 degrees with 80% humidity, it's going to be pretty miserable. Glad I'm going. So it's going to be a tough series. The Orioles can score. They can't pitch worth a darn, but they can score. They have some talented guys in their lineup. So get it out to Baltimore. Keep playing well. The Rangers' defense has been really good for about 2 or 3 weeks now. Really, ever since that silly Tampa Bay series when they had all those mistakes, it's been good. They're playing Ezekiel Duran at first. I don't know if that's good or bad. He seems reasonably capable, but Jake Berger I think is a better defensive player, but he's hurt. Okay, that's fine. Sam Haggerty's a good outfielder when he's in there. Wyatt and Evan Carter are good. Dlls, I thought, kind of had a misread on a fly ball that in that big inning that kind of opened the floodgates. But he saw what he did Friday with DeGrom, making 2 those diving catches. So it's certain things are really good. You do worry a little bit right now about the rotation, I think, because you only have really, being honest, only DeGrom. That you're like, oh yeah, we feel good about this one.
Right.
You don't feel good about Leiter, Rocker. Patrick Corbin you should feel good about, but you still probably have PTSD from his last few seasons. Sure. But now you're going to get Eovaldi back. So things are starting to trend the right way there.
No doubt about it. And you got to remember that, Rocker, yes, obviously has been up and down. But in the 2 outings since he was sent to AAA in a punitive fashion, he's got an ERA under 2 against 2 major league clubs. So, granted, those 2 teams are who they are, but that is still major league hitters that he has been getting out, and that's a step up from what he had been doing at the minor league level. More coming up as we continue to talk through this one. Heard the general manager talking yesterday. We'll talk a little bit about what he said. We'll comment on more of your comments and continue to get post-game reaction to a Rangers loss today in Pittsburgh. That's next on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
Well, we got some good ads coming up.
You do. Empire Today, Jeff.
Oh, that's ours. Once again, I say this a lot, and you guys probably have heard it by now, but our kids have wrecked our floors, and it continues to happen as now that it's pool season and they're coming inside soaking wet. They don't wipe up after themselves. So
right.
The floor's taking some water damage. They really need to be replaced. And when we pull the trigger, it's Empire Today all the way. EmpireToday.com/DLLS will get you $350 off your new floors. We're going to make our free in-home estimate, have them come in, help us out, and then we're going to say, you know what, we're good. Why don't we start the next day? Because you guys can do that. Empire Today, they're pros. That's all they do is flooring, all varieties, hardwoods, carpets, tiles, you name it. EmpireToday.com/DLLS.
Hot day out there today. It's a perfect day to head over to Wendy's and get yourself one of these Frosty Fusions. It's a new product from Wendy's. You've seen us trying those many, many times. Today we opted not to go with the Frosty because the reality is this tastes a little bit better without the ice cream added to it. So that's just a decision we made today, but we love those Frosty Fusions. My favorite is the caramel. I think Jeff likes the Oreo the best. We like them all, though. They're You can still get the vanilla or the chocolate Frosty. It's a staple at Wendy's and has been since Dave Thomas invented the place way back in the 60s or 70s. So we encourage you, no matter what you do and what flavor you're craving, odds are we've got a Frosty for you. Go in there for a sweet treat anytime, including midnight or later. Wendy's, the all-new Frosty Fusion. Refresh a classic. At participating Wendy's, hours may vary. So I heard Chris Young yesterday, I think it was, Jeff. He was on with Jared Sandler. And on the pregame show, and he was talking about, you know this better than I do. I mean, Chris Young is, when he sits down to talk, he's very candid. And obviously there's certain things he can't talk about if it's about trades or things like that, right?
Yeah.
He can't tip his hand. But when asked by Jared, about what was frustrating him this season, he said basically these players, right? We believe these players are going to be who they are. And if they are, his exact words were, if they become that yet this year, we're going to be a great team. And we've always believed he's right, still believe he's right. The reality is to even be doing what they've been doing, where they won 7 out of 8 games or whatever it was. Maybe it got to even more than that with the 2 in Pittsburgh. To do all of that, basically with Corey Seager as a passenger. Now, he joined for the first couple of games in Pittsburgh, but when you were doing all that with Corey Seager as a passenger, you get Corey Seager. Imagine if at the trade deadline, you just all of a sudden got Corey Seager. Now, I hope it doesn't take that long for Corey Seager to get back, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a huge addition to the lineup. It's not for lack of effort. It's not for lack of any trying or anything on Corey's part. He does everything in his power to make everything work. But essentially, you've had, a hole in the batting order at the 3 spot, for, ever since he's come back.
Yeah, it hasn't been good. It was better this series with the home run and the big hit that he had yesterday to drive in a run. This is Corey Seager we're talking about. All right, he's gonna find it. I'm pretty sure that any team would take Corey Seager, even this Corey Seager. And people are saying, no, he's bench him, trade him, all this crap.
Yeah,
you've lost your minds. All right, the guy's good, and he's going to be fine. And to that end, and to what Ethan, who's especially frustrated today in the chat, they haven't performed in 2 years. I'm tired of hearing that. What he's talking about with Chris Young, and if these guys perform to their capabilities, they're going to be good. And he's right. Ethan's right. They haven't done it for a season and a half now. But that's what the Rangers have to believe. They're the one who assembled this team, assembled this lineup. I think now they realize that they have to make some changes in the offseason as far as they have too many of the same kinds of hitters. They have too many aggressive hitters. Evan Carter's nice to sprinkle in there and take some pitches, but you need more than just one guy doing that. So some more complementary players, I guess, is what I would anticipate happening in the offseason. But to your point, John, and to Chris's point, yeah, these guys, Marcus Semien is doing fine. He's back. Adolis Garcia is doing well. Corey Seager is going to be fine. So that's three main guys that are in the middle of your lineup. It's getting guys on ahead of them, and the guys behind them doing stuff too. But yeah, it's frustrating. All right, I get it, but that's the hope that the Rangers have. That's kind of the game they're playing. They're playing the long game here, and they have to. They have to believe that that's going to happen because they got nothing else, right? You're not replacing those guys. You're not trading Marcus Semien and finding somebody who is as good as 2023 Marcus Semien, because teams that have that guy, and not a lot of teams do, aren't trading him. And there's a budget, and there's the luxury tax that they're concerned about, and the ramifications for going over that, and how it would affect the draft next year, and the international bonus, and all of that stuff. So there's just a lot at play here. And so, yeah, the Rangers have to hope, and Chris Young has to believe in the guys, and so does Bruce Bochy. So this is what you're going to get. You're going to get some good games where the offense looks great. It raises your hopes. You're going to win some close games. Then you're going to get behind and have no chance to come back because this offense isn't capable of that. So, but they have to keep believing, because it's all they have, that a turnaround is coming offensively. And you've seen signs of it. You need to see Josh Young start hitting. He had a nice hit today, but he's been not very good. Seager, again, hasn't been very good. We get it. I believe more in Corey Seager than I do Josh Young. The catchers are hot and cold. It'd be nice if they could get hot at a stretch, and then when Jake Berger comes back, for him to get hot. So a lot of ifs, and it looks bleak, but again, Chris Young has to say these things, and he has to believe these things, because that's the way the Rangers are going to turn themselves around.
Yeah, and truthfully, that Jonah Heim bat that scored the third run of the game, or actually that advanced the runner, he fought,
Yeah.
I mean, that was a good at bat. He ends up with getting a single. Just kept fighting and kept fighting and kept fighting. And I was really happy to see that from Jonah. He does seem to be a bit defeatist, right, up there at the plate sometimes. And so he wasn't defeated. He didn't allow himself to be defeated there. And so, but again, those are all things I hope. And Jeff and I have talked about this a lot off the air. I don't know that we've mentioned it a lot on, but they just need more of the working and at bat, right? They need 10 pitch at bats, 8, even 7. They need longer at bats. It does so many good things. It allows everybody on the bench to see basically everything that this pitcher has, right? If he's throwing 8 or 10 pitches to you, you're going to see the other guys are going to see everything he has. Then it's the key, of course, that like Brett Boone says, that they're watching the game, which I think they're being told to, and they are being better about. And then, but the other thing that it does is it tires the pitcher out, right? Sure. Especially on a hot day in Pittsburgh today, or a hot 3 games that you're going to have in Baltimore.
The Seager, Semien, Garcia sequence there, I think it was the 3rd or 4th, where they got the first 2 guys on, and Seager popped out.
Yep.
I don't remember what happened with Semien.
Semien popped out to a center, but it was shallow
and then
center.
Garcia kind of was that the one he hit to third that Hayes made the nice play on?
Yeah.
All right. Should, if they had been watching the game, they would have realized, hey, this Brady Falter guy is not throwing a lot of strikes.
Right.
Bailey Falter, sorry. And, it's like, maybe I should take a strike. And David Murphy said that a few times, and Dave Raymond said that a few times. And they're not just pulling that out of thin air. I mean, they're obviously, David played a long time. He gets it. They talk to people. They understand, what this team is lacking. It's okay to take a strike. Hitters these days seem to be very comfortable hitting 0-2 counts, even though the league average is like 170.
Yeah.
When you're in an 0-2 count, but take a strike. Make this guy throw you a strike. Don't swing at his pitch. Don't chase. If he's out there huffing and puffing, if you're the third batter of an inning and the guy's already throwing 10 pitches, he's on his way to being tired.
Yeah.
All right. Keep it going. Let it go. That's part of the Brett Boone watching the game thing. And now, Corey Seager, aggressive hitter, he's in his own little bubble.
Sure.
In a good way. Like, he's his own guy. They understand where they're getting from him. But Simeon needs to take some pitches. All right. And you've seen Dlls has probably had their best at-bats the last 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, we've marveled at some of the pitches he hasn't chased. They're classic chase opportunities for him. When he first got back, he for sure wasn't chasing that slider that was unreachable and broke outside the strike zone. Today, we marveled at a couple of high strikes that he took, way up in the zone.
Right, and you know that's where they went.
Yeah,
that was by design. Not every pitchers often throw balls out of the strike zone on purpose.
Yes,
especially to that guy.
Yeah,
and so he's been doing a much better job with that. So I am good with what he's doing, but just work the pitcher.
Yes.
Grind him down, especially when you have the opportunity. And if you see 2-3 innings in a row, gosh, this guy gave up a hit and walked a guy. He's up to 4 walks.
Yeah.
He's thrown almost as many balls as he has strikes. Maybe I shouldn't swing at the first pitch.
Yeah, and I heard Murph say, you don't swing until he throws a strike after he had walked 2 batters in a row. And Dave just kind of posed the question rhetorically, but knew Murph would answer him. No, of course you don't swing until the guy shows you a strike. And I think the first 2 pitches of that at bat, I don't remember if that was the second inning or not, but might have been to Heim. The first 2 pitches were out of the strike zone.
Yeah. Well, and for sure it used to be this way. When you were behind, you took a strike.
Yes.
That's not that old. And in fact, I even tell Henry, my son, if your team is behind, you have to take until they throw you a strike. And just you need base runners at that point. You need mistakes, and the more pitches the guys throw, the more mistakes they're going to make. And so that's certainly something I think that is something that needs to be addressed, has been addressed, and will be addressed in the offseason.
Yep. It has to be. It will be. You mentioned Jake Berger in the first segment and the oblique injury that necessitated a trip to the injured list. That I didn't hear or see any of the prognosis stuff. Do we have a severity on it? Because obliques scare me, man.
Yeah, they think it'll be a shorter stay.
Okay.
I heard hopeful it's the minimum, but I don't know. Obliques never go the minimum.
Right.
If I was a bet man, I'd take the over. But it's 10 days. Obviously, an MRI showed something, or they just didn't want to play down a guy and wait it out. Especially with Wyatt, who was dealing with a back thing, and Josh Smith, whose legs, he's still on the recovery side of that, and then you still have Corey you got to worry about. So it makes sense to put him on the IL. And, again, maybe he can use that time to get something good out of it.
Yeah.
Get himself sorted out.
Yeah. So anyway, more to talk about regarding some of those issues, as well as the trip to Baltimore. The road trip continues there, and we'll talk about that. Jeff's going to be there for the 3 games in Baltimore, so we'll have an eyewitness account, and he'll be joining us each day from Baltimore. So that's coming up as we get you ready for the rest of the trip next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. But first, my friends at Shady Rays. Love me some Shady Rays. No doubt I wore them in here today. Been wearing them all weekend long. I've got 2 pair now, as you know. One they gave us, one I bought, and that's how much I liked the first pair. I liked them so much that I bought them. So I appreciate you giving them a chance because I just think you're really going to love them. They're dang near indestructible, and they're very comfortable. Both pairs I have, one are wire, theoretically heavier. They're like the aviators. The other are the really light plastic, equally as comfortable. They fit great, polarized. You see great out of them, and I haven't lost them yet, but I will. And if I do, they are going to replace them. You know, it's going to be one of those, I believe it when I see it. I really believe it because we know the client and they're great, but it's amazing. They replace glasses even if you lose them just once. ShadyRays.com, 35% off your first pair of Shady Rays.
And as you've seen, John and I already digging into the Bud Light. We're hoping to do so after a win, and I don't think we've yet experienced that. So instead of celebrating,
we're always
Bud
drowning
Light,
our damn
we're
sorrows.
drowning our sorrows. But you know, the best beer is cold beer.
Yeah,
and a cold Bud Light is cool and refreshing and delicious. It makes you want to have another one. And John, as I showed you, I created a new drink for you.
Yes, I love it.
Lunchbox, Bud Light, orange juice, and amaretto. Good stuff. Bud Light. Stock up your fridge. Have it with you for your game or for your 4th of July party. 4th of July is coming up. It's just that easy, just like Bud Light, which is always brewed with 4 simple ingredients for a clean, crisp taste. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 years and older. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, it's our favorite, and we appreciate you supporting that sponsor as well. Okay, so then the thing, too, just getting to, before we get to the Baltimore trip, about these injuries. Yeah, so, you know, Josh Smith is able to play, but really not quite yet play the field. I think he'd have been, well, first of all, I think today might have been a down day for Corey Seager if Josh could have played shortstop, right? But he couldn't. Then I also think Josh would have been at first base and somebody else would have been in there at DH if Josh could have played first base. But I think that hammy high on the upper portion of his hamstring is still bothering him enough. And Boch confirmed it yesterday that, he's not quite ready for that yet.
Yeah, got to have the bat. I mean, even against a lefty, he drove in the first run with a soft little single against a lefty. And he's got to be in there. He was the player of the week last week. He's done fine in his 3 games back since missing the Royal Series. So that helps too, having him in there. Once he's able to play the field or comfortable enough to play the field, then you'll probably get either a day off for Seager or a DH day. But there's a lot that goes into managing.
Oh my!
And we as media members and fans never know what players are really going through. We may see a guy in the clubhouse with a bag of ice or with some heat on his back, something like that, but we don't know what it feels like. And so the manager checks in every day with how guys feel after every game. He checks in. So at least he'll have an idea going on the next day if there's something he's got to do. They probably, get guys MRI'd more than anybody. I'd want to know what their MRI bill is. So you got to juggle that. Which pitchers are available, which ones aren't. Well, you got Chris Martin. He's older. He's had a back issue, an elbow issue, a shoulder issue, and now a back issue. And yet they're not like IL moves. One of them was. So you got to juggle that guy. He's 39. He pitched back-to-back days. Well, he may need 2 days off. Yeah. Maybe he's not available tomorrow. And the number of pitches that guys have thrown within a certain amount of days. Have they worked 3 out of 4 days? Things like that. Really, the only guy who seems immune to it is Hobie Milner, who was off, who wasn't going to pitch today because he had pitched so much the last 2 days. And he was on our podcast, the weekly show with me and John Moore. So he's been busy. Yeah, I think he had one suspect game, right, for Hobie, and then he came on the podcast, and man, he's been nails ever since. So I think he needs to do the podcast more often. We've had that effect on people. Yeah, and I will say too about Chris Martin. Watching that game, it's a 1-run game yesterday. Yeah, Martin's in there for the save, and I'm just like, okay. And you know what I love most about Chris Martin? He is
cool, right? And that's the experience. I get it. But that calm, cool, collected, you're just like, nothing phases him.
Yeah. Yeah. Except, I tell you what, he lost his cool that time the shoulder
when it popped. Yeah.
popped.
Well, if you hear a pop, this is the moneymaker, you know. And if you hear something up in here pop, and he acknowledged to us, he doesn't know if maybe it's the same thing that popped.
Yeah.
He thought it was the shoulder one time. He thought it was the elbow one time. But again, you're moving fast. There's a lot of adrenaline going. It's tough to identify exactly from whence the pop came. But there was definitely a couple of pops there,
Yeah,
and
he was running hot.
by God, we're having a couple of pops ourselves here.
That's
so.
right. That's right. Anyway, players' availability, and especially where we're at now. I mean, we're about to be halfway through the season. You know, and you guys probably heard me say this before, but a player is like the value of a car. As soon as you drive it off the lot, it starts to depreciate. As soon as these guys show up to spring training, their 100% just starts to crater. You know, and you can take it easy on them and show up in spring training, and they're not 100% on opening day.
No.
You know, and so what does their 100% look like at this point of the year? How do you massage them and keep them in games? And you know, like Ron Washington used to tell Josh Hamilton that 50% of him was better than 100% of so-and-so on the bench. You know, and there's some truth to that. Some of these guys, you know, 50% of Corey Seager is probably better than 100% of Ezekiel Duran.
Sure.
You know, I'm gonna go ahead and say that. And so there's mental games you got to play, but you do have to keep them fresh. Give them a chance to catch their breath because it is a long season, and now it's starting to get hot. It's 74 degrees every day in Globe Life Field, but they haven't faced heat like they're going to face these next 3 games. Fortunately, they're all night games. But you know, they haven't faced heat like this for a while, so there are all kinds of factors that go into this, and so it's a hard job. And you know, we get on players. Why is this guy sucking? This, that, and the other. Well, his calf might be bugging him.
Yeah,
that we don't know about. You know, Evan Carter. We didn't know about his back last year until it finally got so bad that they had to take him out of play. You know, guys try to play through things sometimes to the detriment of the team, but you know, it's just it's tricky. And then when everybody stinks all at the same time, you're mixing and matching and trying to make guys comfortable and all this stuff, and it's you know, it's a reason why there's you know, a lot of turnover in the job.
Yeah, and
guys get fired a lot.
Know this: guys are coy, for lack of a better word, and that may be a real understatement. Coy about letting us know. Even Chris Martin and I, and you too, we had a relationship for a long, long time, and I feel Chris will talk to me about anything. And I saw him on Tuesday or Wednesday when I was at the ballpark, and I said, "Hey," and I was like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" He goes, "I'm great." And the next day we hear he's got a back issue. You know,
Right.
Well, he doesn't, you know, necessarily want to tell me that. It hadn't come out yet. Maybe he hadn't told his manager yet. Who knows what it is? But you know, he did not. He would, to me, I figured, okay, Chris Martin's ready, and then he doesn't pitch for 2 more days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And then you were out there the next day or two, and that's when Boach revealed, oh, he's got a back, and the collective media all went, a back. You know?
Yeah. Well, he just hadn't pitched, and Boach said, we're trying to stay away from him. We're like, oh, it must be his shoulder. So I said, well, is everything all right with Chris's shoulder? And he goes, well, it's not his shoulder, it's his back. I was like, oh, and he goes, I thought you guys knew that.
Yeah.
We're like, no, we didn't get the injury report emailed to us, Boach.
Right.
Sorry. But so anyway, I don't know what the point of this whole thing was.
No, I don't either. Just when you know, we had that. Well, I guess it's just when you're, you know, when you don't know what's what is up with a guy.
Yeah.
Even sometimes when you talk with a guy, you don't know, because you know Evan Carter's really, maybe this year in spring training talked a little bit more, but he really doesn't want to talk about the back.
Yeah. Well, and then you know, what is Nathan Eovaldi gonna look like? Right. What is he still feeling? Because if it's a nerve issue, he's gonna have to keep fighting through that. So you know, at what percentage is Nathan Eovaldi? You know, and you know, we're talking about Cody Bradford, who's coming back and expected to be back, even though we had a cold this last week. when he comes back, is he going to be 100%? Is he going to be 80%? What about John Gray when he's back? If they bring him back as a reliever, is he, what's that going to look like? Is he going to be missing out on the reps that help him dial in his command? Just things like that. It's a guessing game a lot of times with their health, but you kind of bank on track record and, what they've done in the past in certain roles. And again, you do, and the Rangers are big on this, look at the back of the baseball card.
Yep.
And at some point, the Rangers continue to believe that these guys are all going to perform closer to that than what they are now. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating to talk about, no matter how many Bud Lights we have.
Right.
It's tough. Maybe that makes it more frustrating.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe.
But, to answer some of the questions in the chat, the Rangers do have the worst road record in the division. That means that they are worse on the road than the Oakland A's. And Leon went a little deeper. One team in the West that has a lower road LPS than the Rangers, I would assume it's the A's. So that's and Kelly Mann is big on playing Evan Carter against lefties.
Right.
And I don't disagree with you. I don't. I know he got an at bat against one the other night. But the alternative today was Sam Haggerty, and Sam Haggerty has just been great. I know he's not an everyday player for a reason, but
all he does is get on base.
He certainly seems to provide a bit of a spark, and it's I think we kept banging the drum or pounding the table. I guess we'd be pounding the table during spring training about Evan and lefties. And Bruce Bochy finally said, "What is wrong with him getting 400 at bats against a right-handed pitching? What's wrong with that?
Where's the problem?" Yeah,
and he brings up a pretty good point. That's most of your season. That's the majority of the season. The majority of the games that he'd be playing, he's better against those sides. And so his point was, go find a guy for 100 at bats that can hit lefties. And so I get it, but he says that with time, Evan will start to play more against lefties. I just don't think the time is right now. Now, maybe if at the trade deadline the Rangers are out of it, or at some point in August they fall out, then maybe at that point they starting him more against left-handers. Help him start that road to success. But, we were talking about health. That's still the big question with Evan. And it looks like he's been healthy. So these days against left-handers, him not being in there actually help keep him healthy, help the Rangers keep him healthy.
Sure.
So it serves a purpose, these days against left-handed pitchers. But, if he's going to be an everyday player, he has to face lefties. To your point,
he does, and yes, he does, and he's going to need to, right? I mean, that's the answer for Boch. Well, if you adopt that approach every single year in his career, which I know Boch wasn't saying they would, but if you do, kid's never going to be able to hit lefties, and it's something he can learn. It's something his skill set is such he will be able to do that at some point in his career, but not without ever having opportunity to do it. He'll get that, maybe not just yet. So, there's that. Kevin Durant traded to the Rockets. Ardell reminds us. So
what a trade. They traded like two guys I'd actually heard of. I don't know the NBA very well, but I'd heard of those two guys.
Yeah.
A first-round pick and 5 second-round picks.
Yeah.
For a guy who's 52.
180 years old. Yeah. And
he's an old, however old he is.
Yeah.
Because he came out of school after 1 year.
Yeah. And he's been, a bit of a malcontent at his various stops along the way. That's very interesting. I will say this, though. That does change things in the division, right? I mean, Houston was better than the Mavericks this past year. I think it's, now, and you've got, so you've got Houston and San Antonio and the Mavs and Memphis and then New Orleans as they also ran. So
is Oklahoma City in the Dallas division?
What's that?
Oklahoma City?
No, they're with the Pacific out there because they were Seattle.
Oh,
so they're still out there with all those guys. So, Yeah, but anyway, that was a juicy day, and I couldn't believe the NBA let that happen on the day. Let it be announced on the day that there's a Game 7 tonight, right?
Yeah.
How do you let this
Taken away from
story
it.
take away from your Game 7? But anyway, we digress.
Well, the ratings have been
Ardell, that's your
the
fault.
ratings have been terrible. So the ratings have been terrible. So
Well, maybe, yeah. Take everybody's mind off.
What the hell?
I got to think for Game 7 they're going to be good. The ratings, I don't know, maybe not. But
I hope Oklahoma City loses.
Me too.
All right.
Yeah, all right. Then at least we're on the same page there. More coming up. We still haven't gotten to the road trip. The rest of the road trip, we will. There's some things to clean up from the world of baseball, and we'll continue to chat with you. We appreciate you being here. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And it's time to talk about merchandise. Our favorite items are maybe upon us. Jeff loves the Texas Chew shirt.
Yeah, I'm wearing it.
I'm a big fan of this one with the multi-logos. And I really want you to go ahead and get yourself some merchandise. It's not just shirts. They've got all kinds of other stuff on our website. It's store.allcitynetwork.com. And if you go there, you can get any of the merchandise that we have available, which, like I say, there's flags and shot glasses and things like that will help you represent, let people know that you watch us and you enjoy hanging out with us. And, of course, it's not just us. We know that. We were each a part of other shows this week. I was on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Jeff was on the Mavs. So we all played a little musical chairs and had fun with that. And we are big fans of each and every show and each and every one of our beat writers on each and every show, which is the reason that you should become what, Jeff?
Oh, a diehard.
Yeah.
Yeah, diehard. Hit your QR code right there if you're watching. If you're listening, alldls.com/join. Become a diehard. You get access to all the fine stories that we write. You get 20% off of our events, including our trip to Las Vegas with the Cowboys crew, November 15th through 18th. They're staying at the Mandalay Bay. It's a Monday night game. What is that stadium called? Allegiant Stadium. It's right across the highway from Mandalay Bay. Like right Mandalay Bay, I think it's 17, and then it might be 15. It's one of the teams.
That's sure.
And then it's right there. I think you can walk. I probably would walk just because the traffic would be terrible. And November in Las Vegas is very pleasant. I'd like to see Clarence in Las Vegas. How that turns out.
Yeah.
Like do the before and the after photo. See how he's hanging out, holding up. But it should be a good time. So become a diehard.
Please do. Let's get to this continuation of the road trip. They're going to Baltimore now. We've already mentioned it's going to be extremely hot, and the Rangers aren't extremely sure about who they're going to pitch beyond tomorrow, right? Tomorrow they've got Patrick Corbin, and then they're still TBA for the other 2 days.
And the Orioles are TBA across the board.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but that's just what was on the game notes today. And so that, as we talked about, probably means one of these following three will pitch. Two of these three will pitch. Jacob Latz, Eovaldi, or DeGrom, just depending on how they want to rest DeGrom and how much rest Eovaldi needs after he threw live the other day. So I anticipate I would take that to the bank. It'll be two of those three.
Yeah.
And that's good for Jake Latz. He's kind of earned it. He was a starter. He talked about the other day. He's always been a starter. This relief thing, he's done fine with it. But high school, his college career, which was interrupted by a series of injuries and being ineligible after a transfer, but he was a starting pitcher. Excuse me. The MLB.com has Trevor Rogers listed as the Orioles starter for Monday, Charlie Morton for Tuesday, and then TBA for Wednesday. Morton has been resurgent after being awful to start the season. He's rebounded nicely. Trevor Rogers is a left-hander, so Kelly Mann, Probably won't see Evan Carter tomorrow. Maybe you'll see Justin Foscue in there tomorrow. No point really in calling him up and just sitting him. Let him give it a shot. I think Camden Yards once again is hitter friendly.
Yep.
With the fences
Move the
readjusted
walls
in left
yep.
field. Give him a shot. He's done so well at AAA. Maybe he struck on something. He was just had trouble with fastballs last year in his debut, and so that might be a good spot for him.
Yeah, it'd be probably he needs to get confidence back at this level. He got up last year early, and then he got hurt, and he was out for the basically dang near the rest of the season.
Well, he got his he hurt himself while collecting his first MLB hit. He said it was the swing before his first MLB hit, which came against Josh Hader.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it drove in a run. Anyway,
it did.
Next day he goes on the injured list. I think it was an oblique or a lat. Same thing, right?
Somewhere over there.
And then, so it took a couple months. He went to AAA. He came back, and they gave him a chance. They gave him a chance to play. Didn't work out, so he went into the offseason with some things to work on. Keeping his bat in the zone longer is something that the hitting coaches wanted him to do at the end of last season. So we'll see how he did with that. I mean, his AAA numbers are just steady as a rock. They've looked the same for 3 years. So hopefully this is a chance for him to maybe break through a little bit.
Yeah, it would be nice. Again, it's an Orioles team that's been struggling. And then speaking of obliques, they've lost Adley Rutschman to an oblique.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, Adley Rutschman's a former 1 overall pick in 2019. The Bobby Witt, who went 2nd overall, Bobby Witt draft. Josh Young was the 8th pick in that draft. So some pretty good firepower in that draft. He's kind of struggled, though, this year. But a switch hitting catcher who can power from both sides, good defensively. So that's unfortunate for baseball for him to be out. Fortunate for the Rangers in this case that he won't be playing in this series. And then the guy they called up got run over in a collision
by Jazz Chisholm today.
Yeah, I don't know that Jazz Chisholm's a popular guy. But anyway.
Well, because Chisholm was then seen kind of chuckling in the dugout, even as the young man's writhing on the ground in pain and ultimately removed from the game. But,
but the Orioles aren't the worst team in the league.
No.
And they've been better, I'd say, of late. Still not good enough. Their manager's up and been fired. If you look at their expected wins and losses, they're 33-44 overall, but their expected win-loss is 30-47. So maybe they're playing a little better than they are. But they've lost a couple in a row. They're coming home. That's going to be hot for them too. So we'll see what happens. But the Rangers have an opportunity here. They really do have an opportunity to win a series,
win another road series, keep that string going. 4 road series wins in a row. I mean, again, all you really ask a team to do is play 500 on the road, and with 4, road series wins in a row, they'd finally be bringing that worst road record in the American League West up just a little bit. But I think I haven't looked at the notes yet. I think they've or recently, but I think they're today up to 15-24.
15-24 is what the record is now
on the road.
So still 9 games under 500. On the road, so that's not good, but it's actually better than what it was.
Yep, that's right. So a couple of things around the world of baseball today. Cal Raleigh hit another home run, his 31st of the season against the Cubs. Jeff, unbelievable! The first half of the season that this guy's having.
It's crazy, and the buzz about the torpedo bat has really died down.
Yeah.
But Cal Raleigh is using a torpedo bat. And, for all speaking of Jazz Chisholm, he was one of the guys in that first weekend when the Yankees scored 20 against the Brewers or whatever. They're like, oh, the torpedo bat. And as expected, it has faded. The buzz has faded. But Cal Raleigh is keeping that thing alive. I don't think that's the only reason why he's hitting home runs, because he's had 30 homer seasons in his past, but now he's got 31 before the All-Star break.
Yeah.
So when the Mariners roll into town, next weekend for the Elvis Andrus weekend. Got to watch out for Cal Raleigh.
Incidentally, the Mariners beat the Cubs. Now, Suzuki hit 2 home runs for the Cubs in that game.
Oh, yeah?
And got the Cubs back to within 1, but that must have been 7-6 at that point, and the Mariners win it 14-6.
Oh,
so
dear.
Mariners are, again, they're 2 games over 500. They're not a great team. They seem to be playing pretty good right now, and they've got a great player in Cal Raleigh, and we always know everything about their rotation. The Wash news yesterday was troubling. Did it break yesterday or Friday? I can't remember, but
the other day.
Yeah, we're such fans of Wash, and you've had text conversations with him, Jeff, and so maybe it's not quite as when they just say out indefinitely, you kind of worry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I said, Wash, you all right? Let me know if there's anything I can do to help, because he still has a house here. He said, thanks for the love. I'll be back soon.
Good.
So, and Perry Manassian, the GM, has known Wash for a long, long, long time, because, Perry worked in the clubhouse. His dad was the clubhouse manager the first, 3 years of Wash's managerial reign here. So they know each other. And Perry said, I'm doing this because I love the guy.
Yeah.
And Wash, he's not a spring chicken. He's 72. All right. He's the oldest manager in the American League West. He's older than Bruce Bochy. He's still, he's going to slow down at some point, I would think. But, just shortness of breath, I think it was.
Yeah, that's what they said.
But they allowed him to get on a plane.
Yeah, the doctors, the team doctors for the Yankees examined him, and they said, you're okay to fly home. So he did, and then he got together with everybody back home. Yeah, and they said, let's give this some rest.
Well, I think he's been at the ballpark though, just in a suite.
Yeah, he was sitting with Perry. I saw Friday or Saturday, one of the two.
So I'm sure he's antsy and anxious.
Yeah,
I think Wash is just fine.
Maybe
he got a little dehydrated or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, hard to keep a good man down, no doubt. Chris Sale fractured a rib diving for a ball. And that, and the kind of year he was resurgent having again, it's just, and now, you're starting to hear all kinds of things about, Jesus, Chris Sale, a Hall of Famer, and,
right.
and a fractured rib, man.
That's a tough one. Yeah. And, it made me think about, you remember as game 1 of the division series.
Yeah.
When Jordan Montgomery dove for that bunt.
He did.
I mean, it was the play of the game, and it changed the series.
Yes, it did.
Tampa Bay was in a position to just potentially bust through, and he made that great play. And he's a big man.
I'd say he's a lot bigger than Chris Sale. Yeah,
a lot heavier at least. And he popped right up and kept going. That's unfortunate because Sale was, the Braves have had a tough one with their pitchers and really a tough season. They got Ronald Acuna back, and he's been tearing it up. But now to lose Sale, that's tough for them. And you kind of wonder, they're kind of going through the same thing as the Rangers.
Yeah, they are.
Are they going to be a seller?
Yeah, they're a team that was supposed to be a heck of a lot better than what they are, and the results anyway have been similar. I haven't noticed if theirs is quite as offensive. Certainly, injuries are playing a factor in the case of the Braves.
They're 10.5 games out in the East.
Gosh,
they're behind the Mets.
The
Phillies have caught the Mets.
Yeah.
Kind of. Well, let's take a look. The Braves are plus 25 run differential. The Rangers are plus 16. The Rangers are 38-40. The Bravos are 35-41. 319 runs for the Braves. 282 for the Rangers. So a little bit of everything there. But Spencer Strider was out. Now he's been kind of inconsistent. So they have problems all around there.
Yep. Frustrating game for the Rangers. It's felt like another underachieving game. Look, they win this series, but championship games just weighs in with what we led with, which is a good way to end if that's how we started, and that is that the Rangers had 2 on with nobody out 4 times in the first 6 innings and only scored 2 runs. That's the reason we had to crack open the cold Bud Lights and drown our sorrows today. hopefully there's better news tomorrow. Jeff's going to need a lot of them after a hot night in Baltimore tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And we will be here with you at 1 o'clock tomorrow and Tuesday. We got a post-game show Wednesday, back at 1 with you on Thursday. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We do appreciate that so very much. And we'll see you again tomorrow on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.